What is going on, guys? Joey Friends here at FLEXX Training Systems, and today we're going to be talking about SBD days. Should you do them? Should you not do them? Who are they for? The pros and cons. Do we do them? Do we use them over here in FLEXX land? So we're going to kind of go through that. A couple people here and there have just been like, hey, doesn't seem like you use SBD days. Do you not like them? Whatever, this and that. And I thought it would be a good question to address. First off, I just want to say I don't use them unless I have to. It's not for everyone, and it depends. Like scheduling wise, like, do we need it? Is it something that we have to do in order to get all our work in? For example, let's say you're only able to train like a certain amount of days, and depending on the priorities of those days and how your split is set up, I might have you do one day at the end of the week where you're doing SBD, and maybe one of those lists is a priority lift and the other two are low priority. It really just depends, right? And I think it all comes back to talking about recovery, and you guys have heard me talk about like you have like an economy of recovery, right? Like your recovery is like you getting paid basically, and your training is you spending it. And you only have so much recovery that you can spend. Over time, you can earn a bigger allowance, right? You can train your body to recover from more or less, but it's going to be within a range, right? You're not going to be able to scale your recovery infinitely. There's going to be, you only take in so many calories, and there's going to be, a point where, you're going to have diminished returns. You're going to get weaker. You're doing too much, right? It's kind of a delicate thing. But you really want to just make sure that you're operating within a range where you're recovering enough to have consistent, generally good feeling training here and there. And then you're going to have times when, brief periods, hopefully, where you feel not like super shitty, but obviously you're fatigued, right? And then once you recognize that fatigue, you need to pay that back. How do you pay that back? How do you earn more allowance to be able to do harder training? Recovery. Now, another thing that I like to kind of think about when it comes to recovery is you have, like, for example, when you go to the gym, right? And you're at the gym for more than, I would say, 60 to 90 minutes. Me personally, I start to really notice that end of that workout starts to diminish greatly. Mentally, I start to get out of it. I start to become flat. I don't really have, I just don't have the energy that I had when I started the workout. And there's something called, there are hormones that come out towards the end of your workout that aren't the best to have present all the time. I think the hormone I'm thinking about is I think it's cortisol. I could be wrong. It starts with a C, but basically I think it's a hormone that basically wants to break things down. In my mind, and I could totally be wrong on this. The way that I think of it is like, if you are working out or exercising for a long period of time, this hormone's going to come out to be like, all right, I need to break down tissues to be able to, sustain the body, whether that be fat, muscle, whatever, right? That's the way I kind of think about it in my head. And I don't know about anybody else, but I don't like to feel how I feel after I've been in the gym for too long. I notice that the quality of my lifts starts to degrade. I start to feel like shit. I just don't really want to be there. And I feel like I could be a lot more productive if I leave the gym, go home, recover, come back the next day, a whole new night of sleep, right? New set of meals, new set of everything, and start a new workout. And then I can really put a lot of attention into whatever it is that I'm trying to focus on that day in that moment. So for example, if you're doing SBD 3 times a week, and you're like me where, maybe your squats go really well, and then your bench kind of like, it's not bad, and then by deadlift, you're just trash. Unless you're going really light, it might be okay, right? You just have to mentally tough it out, hit these light workout, hit this deload or this super easy deadlift workout, and then get through it. In that case, or if you're very, very well rested, let's say it's meet week, and you're doing an SBD day on a Monday or a Wednesday, and you're competing on a Saturday, you could do that no problem, but obviously a taper workout the week of the meet is going to be very different than a full, sets of 8, sets of 6, whatever, like triples on deadlift, like a big volume day, for example. Every lifter is different. Some smaller lifters might be able to get through a workout like that and they feel great doing it. And I think it's one of those things that you really just you have to individualize it. So for example, if you have a lifter that feels really, really good doing SBD work, monitor the quality of their lifts. Or if you're doing it, be aware, okay, coach is giving me SBD, on this day. And I noticed that every single time that I get to my third lift, it's shit, but I could pretty much handle 2. And then, that might be something to keep in mind when you're building a split, when you're maybe a smaller lifter that needs to handle a lot of frequency, and you want to stack a bunch of lifts together, for example, bench and squat, squat and deadlift, bench and deadlift, something like that. This is important to know because you want to get in the gym, you want to have a quality workout, right? You want to be able to contribute a lot to your competition lifts, make them pristine, make them clean, right? Prepare yourself for competition with good form, staying healthy, things like that. If you always train with good form, then the chances of you having good form in the meet is going to be very high because you don't really know how to do anything any other way. You've always lifted with kind of solid form, assuming you don't really have imbalances, and by the time you hit a grinder, if you have no imbalances, you're going to be able to control the weight, get through that grinder nice and clean. I had 2 of my girls this week, they're pulling sumo and it's kind of heavy, but their form did not move. It was the same form as it was, 50 pounds heavier. And that's great. That's what I love to see, right? Because then there's no real weakness. Doesn't matter what weight it is, right? Whereas there's a lot of guys where they can lift amazing up till fucking 85%. And then once they get over that, then things start to break down. You start to see little form issues here and there, and they're sticky points popping up and stuff like that. So, it's all about maintaining the quality of your training. And if you have an SBD day, you may not be able to do that. Now, some people can do that just fine, right? A lot of smaller lifters, 74 kg class, 83 kg class, stuff like that. They could do it, no problem. It doesn't really bother them because they're just smaller and for, depending on the type of person, their age, a lot of things like that they could just handle it. They have a very durable body. Durability is another thing, right? I'm not going to give, my super heavyweights SBD days when they're lifting a lot of weight, a lot. They're lifting, you guys see Jesus out here lifting, 900 plus pounds on squat, close to 900 pounds on deadlift, and 500 plus pounds on bench. It's just a lot on the body. And we really, really want to emphasize, recovery. If I were to give, if every lifter had a pie chart, and you have, all the way to the super heavyweight side, it's 60% recovery and then 40% training. And then all the way on the other side, it's, maybe for a super small lifter, it's 80% training and 20% recovery. You guys kind of get what I'm saying? Recovery has to be adequate for everyone. I'm just giving you guys an example. But there are going to be lifters that have no choice but to bench, 4 to 5 times a week to get their potential. Other lifters do amazing with 2 times a week. And if you did more than that, it kind of be, again, this is within the context of the way that I like to train people, which is using RPE and kind of taking what you have on the day. If you're if you're doing 50%, 60%, 65%, and you're doing, you're working within that range and you're training 5 days a week, you can probably do it no problem, right? It's super, super light. You're not really causing too much overload there. Why the heck am I saying percent? I feel nasty saying that. Anyway, so pros and cons is not for everybody. If you are it really depends on your schedule. Sometimes you don't have a choice. You have to combine lifts. For some people, it's just really bad and they just shouldn't do it, right? For other people, they can handle it just fine. It's really practical for them and they can maintain the quality of their workout from top to bottom. Recovery is going to be a huge factor. Time in the gym is a huge factor. So, Some people do great on SBD days. They really enjoy them. Some people, and maybe the mental benefits are worth it. And some people should just not mess with them. Do we do it here at FLEXXland? Sometimes, yes. It just depends. It's not like, oh man, SBD days are the way to go, and I don't need to have someone do an SBD day so they can be ready for meet day. If they're training squat, bench, and deadlift, and they're lifting 4 to 6 times a week, they're gonna be fine. Like meet day, it's very, very rare that anybody gasses out. If you could handle sets of 8 on your squat day, that's gonna be harder than what you're gonna handle on deadlift on meet day. By the time you get to deadlift. So who should and shouldn't do it? I kind of explained that to you guys. It depends, but it's not for everyone. So I hope that answers the question of SBD days. Should you do them? Should you not do them? It's one of those things that you kind of just have to try out, and it should be a per lifter type of thing. It's not, guaranteed that anybody should do it. It's just, if it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't, then don't do it. But yes. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for making it this far. If you did, let me know in the comments below. Do you like SBD days? What's your experience with them? Do you prefer to, and this is something that I asked lifters in the beginning when I try to work with them. I'll say, do you prefer training minimal days per week but longer training days? Or do you prefer training 6 days per week but you're in and out? Boom, you hit a comp lift, maybe 2 accessories, 1 or 2 accessories, you're out, right? Everybody's different. Really just depends. I think it's a valid concern and topic, and that's why we covered it today. Anyway, that's it, guys. Thanks. Bye.